Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
For those physically demanding jobs, you need footwear that you can count on and a name that you can trust. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. Stop in during our Ultimate Fit event where you can find incredible deals to keep your feet comfortable and safe. Stop in now through March 17th for the Ultimate Fit experience and receive $10 off orthotics. Plus, don't miss the buy two, get one promotion for socks and accessories. Red Wing Shoes, the ultimate choice for those who work hard. Visit us today and experience the difference at 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And it's Friday Eve on this March 7th, 1:06 in the afternoon. Temperatures 28 degrees here in Fargo and a little colder off in the Northern Valley. Teens are the current temperatures. So a little more cloud cover off in the Northern Valley. A little bit of a breeze out there, but again, plenty of sunshine from the 94 corridor southward. And we're going to continue with a pretty decent day, a typical March day. Our normal highs this time of the year right around the low 30s. And that's pretty much where we're sitting at, or will be at, as we head throughout the afternoon. So all in all, not a bad day. Areas got the snow yesterday and that had some slick roadways this morning. Even on Lakes Country, all that's starting to melt off now with the sun. The sun angle right now in here early March is about the same as it is in mid-September.
Yeah, it's actually right now, things are really melting off nicely, looking good. Have you noticed the change in our daylight hours too? I mean, when I finish our morning spots at 7:30 in the morning, it's starting to be quite light out versus before.
We gain about, I believe it's close to 90 minutes of sunlight through the month of March.
And we spring ahead this weekend. You want to set your clock now so you don't miss it?
Man, I'm not a fan of it. I don't know. It's great in the summer. Don't get me wrong.
It was an awesome excuse for curfew as a kid.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, I am going to blame my sister for this one. She would get home late from curfew. It didn't matter what time of the year. And my dad would be like, you're like an hour and a half late. And my sister would say, oh, is it daylight savings time already? He's like, it's June, okay? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, I like Arizona where they don't change it. Parts of Indiana don't change it. It's, I like, especially if, when you're going to work in the morning, it's nice to have that sun up early.
It really is. And like I said, I enjoy now that when I'm doing morning spots and stuff and somebody says, hey, what does it look like outside your window? Well, frankly, I can see out of it.
Well, and this was mainly put into effect for our ag community, correct?
It was. And also just because.
But this was way back in the day.
Well, it was. I mean, this is, if I remember right, this was in the 20s and 30s because they were doing it also for the coal industry, right? Because coal and lighting and gas, if you had more hours of dark, people went to bed and they weren't using all of those resources like coal, kerosene, once we got to electricity, et cetera. And so it was like a cost saving measure in many ways.
Does that matter nowadays though? I mean,
probably not.
Your tractors, you got lights on your tractors, and your combines and do you really need, I mean.
Yeah, in this day and age, we just work until we get work done.
Right.
Currently we are in baby animal season, we're in calving and lambing. And so you are just going out routinely throughout the night to check on critters, or you're using cameras to help you do that. So there's a lot of different things that have changed now that we could do a little bit differently. And when you plant a crop, I will bet you money, and I look forward to the callers on the Red Wing Shoe phone line to dispute me. That phone line is 701-293-9000. I would venture a guess that with reasonably good weather and no major breakdowns, a farm could put its crop in 10 days. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there, they will run that tractor 18 hours a day just to get it planted as fast as they can so they don't run into weather, et cetera. Now, speaking of those questions, we did have one. And again, this is right off of our phone line, the shoe line, 701-293-9000. Thank you, Red Wing Shoes. And that was from Greg. He had a lot of potato questions. He wanted to know if Hoople, North Dakota is still a major provider of potatoes in this region. And are there still potato houses around? So a couple things. Hoople has long been called the potato capital of North Dakota. They are in probably some of the most fertile ground in the Red River Valley. They are an ideal location with good drainage, et cetera, for potato production between Hoople, Grafton, Minto, those areas, even over to Park River. There are some great potato acres. Forest River's in there as well. So keeps going to this day. Potato houses, those are actually storage facilities. The potato houses we used to see were partly in the ground because they wanted to use the cooler ground temperatures for stable storage. Because if you were above ground, it could get too hot, too cold to freeze. And you didn't have the big HVAC systems that could manage the interior of those houses. New potato warehouses are primarily above ground. They do have major refrigeration systems on them so that you can have better storage control so you don't have variability in temperature. You have to put in quality potatoes to begin with. If you put potatoes in that are suffering from early blight, late blight, hollow heart, other viruses, those potatoes start to almost like melt down. They rot, they melt, and then they will take more potatoes with them and wreck your overall warehouse storage.
All right. Well, speaking of Greg.
Oh, yes, we
got Greg on line one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same Greg, but he's got a comment on daylight savings.
Okay.
Greg, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus.
Two quick comments. First of all, daylight savings, my folks used to tell us years ago in the 60s and stuff that one reason in the fall they like to have it a little like an hour earlier in the fall and fall in the winter was because they didn't want school kids. They didn't want farm kids standing outside in the dark waiting for the buses to come by back in the 50s and 60s when there was a lot of school buses going by. And this way it would get kind of light around 8 o'clock, and then the kids would be standing out there. At least they weren't standing out in the dark looking for coyotes.
Right.
And that couldn't be much fun. And then speaking of potato houses, UND had a football coach, Jerry Olson. He just died. And anyway, he was from Hoople, and that had to have been the potato capital of North Dakota. I mean,
it was at that time, yes.
Try to get somebody from Hoople and see. I remember going up there for potato bowl games, and the girls' clubs up there and the women's sororities and stuff up there. They would whip up these delicious baked potato concoctions with different types of toppings.
So the potato bowl,
it was the best.
Yep, the potato bowl is still held. Yep, UND does it.
In the 70s, and they would whip up these potato concoctions, and it was the best part about the football game was eating the potatoes.
Absolutely, and so that is a grand tradition. Hoople does still do a great job of potato production. We have been close. We have had some folks with potato production on from that neighborhood closer to Forest River, et cetera. So, and it never hurts to revisit that, especially as we get to the summer grilling season and we see a real increase in baked potatoes. We also talk about the nutritional value of potatoes and not just their economic value here to the state of North Dakota. So you make great points, Greg. Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Oh, I mention one more thing. Does McDonald's, do they still go after these potato growers in Idaho? Because everybody wants these russets because everybody wants these big, long French fries that they can.
Remember,
is that still?
McDonald's wants a uniform potato, and one of the favorite cultivars that they have was actually developed at North Dakota State University by Dr. Susie Thompson, and we have talked to Susie about that because it's a uniform sized potato, so that when they cut the fries, they fit in the fryers very well, and they're visually appeasing to those of us in the drive-through waiting for them. Also, they have the right sugar content for best frying. So it's not just Idaho. We grow those potatoes here in North Dakota. And then you have Simplot in Grand Forks that is grading, producing, storing potatoes not only for McDonald's, but for themselves and for other brand names as well. So a lot of potato production at the north end of the Red River Valley.
All right.
Thank you.
Are they called tubers? Are they?
The potato is a tuber. The underground potato is a tuber. Yes.
Greg, thank you so much for calling with your question. And I got an email here from Ronnie with a funny ag joke.
Oh, well, bring it.
Okay, what's the crop farmer's favorite band?
Something with a cornfield.
Holland Oats.
Nice.
Where's the rim shot? I can't see. This is why we need. This is why we.
Dean's
is why we need Justin here.
Dean's just hitting buttons, hoping for the best. Oh goodness. Okay, so before we get any further, though, weather going into the weekend, because as someone who would like to enjoy her weekend, can I? What you got?
Well, I'll tell you what, it does look pretty nice going into the weekend. Today, currently we have temperatures in the teens, Northern Valley, to around 20, and here and around the FM area and points southward, we're in the upper 20s, and we should top out a few more degrees warmer, lower 30s, with those winds out of the west, about 10 to 20. And then tonight we'll see just partly cloudy skies to clear skies with lows into the single digits north and right around 10 to 12 above here in the central Southern Valley. And then as we head into the weekend, or Friday, we're looking at temperatures right around the low to mid 30s, cooler to the north, and then the weekend starts to warm up. Around 40 on Saturday, light winds, wall-to-wall sunshine. Sunday, winds kick in out of the south, which will help warm us up into the low 50s, and then by Monday, we're in the mid to upper 50s. Monday might be a good hooky day. That's what I'm thinking. Just throwing it out there.
Well, maybe for you. The rest of us got to work.
Take a little PTO day.
A what? No, I'm kidding.
Right.
We'll work on that. And you know what? Perhaps if you were looking for a good PTO day and good weather, maybe you want to go to mortonbuildings.com/careers, because they not only pay you for bad weather, if it's too hot or too cold, they will help you with quarterly bonuses. They have upward mobility and on-the-job training. So if you're thinking about taking some PTO days, or maybe you just want to know what somebody else's PTO schedule looks like, I'd go to mortonbuildings.com/careers and have a little look-see at what they're doing.
A lot of people hiring. That's good.
We just need more physical bodies.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how many jobs you want to have. I think I'm up to 3. So
2's enough for me. Two is good. I like my free time. I like being able to take vacation.
These are good things.
2's enough. And we have a special guest hopefully coming up. I don't see our guest on screen yet. But
I may have to send her a message as a reminder, because I'm sure things get kind of busy. And we are looking forward to visiting today with Maria Ness. She is general manager at Gooseneck Equipment. That's one of the John Deere dealerships up here in North Dakota. She's the first female who's going to be handling that John Deere equipment for Gooseneck. So let's talk to her about what that job is and what she does. And did little Maria ever plan that she'd be running John Deere locations? Wonder if that's what has crossed her mind.
Know.
There you go. So we will do that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Mixed action in livestock trade as we wrap up Thursday's session. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this market update. Well, as we take a look at things in the livestock trade, kind of a mixed bag on Thursday, finding some triple-digit gains in live cattle futures with feeders up slightly and hogs for the most part higher in the deferred contracts. A little more spread trading evident again between the April lead month contract and the deferreds there in the hog complex. We look at Thursday's export sales report. Beef net sales 14,000 metric tons. We're up 14% for the previous week, but down 10% from the previous 4-week average. Hog side, pork net sales 36,400 metric tons. We're up 12% from the previous week and up 9% from the previous 4-week average. And we look at cattle country bids currently being offered in both regions as packer interest has definitely improved. I just want to take a refresh of my screen here and see if we're starting to get some sales in or not here in cattle country as we get into Thursday afternoon. And still just bids, 182 bids in Kansas, live 183 to 184 at Iowa, dress bids 292 to 294 in Nebraska and Iowa as well. So not much in the way of sales quite yet on cash cattle. Now looking over at hog prices and trends, steady in Dorchester, Wisconsin and Garnerville, Iowa, barrels and gilts at 55 in both locations. Box beef prices, they're higher. Choice up $1.24, $306.15. Select up 63 at $295.72 per hundredweight. Pork cutout values down 25 cents at $91.24. This is the American Ag Network.
Wheat growers of the North, it's time to push performance to answer the call of Westbred wheat. With regionally proven varieties like WB 9590 and WB 9479 with high protein, yield potential, and standability. Trust Westbred wheat to help you get the most out of every acre. Now's the time. Boldly grow. Seize the season with Westbred wheat. Performance may vary. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
When it comes to cereal disease protection, Prosaro Pro 400 SC fungicide from Bayer makes all the difference. With 3 effective active ingredients for overlapping control of foliar and head diseases and a flexible application window for head scab, it's formulated to lower DON, protect yield potential, and promote superior grain quality. Prosaro Pro. The future of plant health starts here. Visit prosaropro.com to learn more. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Ahead of the close, we see hogs, May up 60, 91.37. March feeders up 250, 105. April live cattle up 142, 188.67. You're listening to the American Ag Network. That's a check of the livestock trade. I'm Jesse Allen.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us today. And the goat, too. So very glad to have you here because it's always an exciting day on Weather and Ag. You'd never know what we might talk about, much less say. I mean, it's just Dean and I, so it could get out of hand.
Yeah, it usually does.
So we have a guest joining us today, and that is Maria Ness. She is the general manager, I hope I got all that right, with Gooseneck Equipment. That's a John Deere dealer. And Maria, my first question has to be, did little Maria, when she was carpet farming, ever think she was going to be running John Deere stores when she got to be big Maria?
That is so funny that you asked that because I vividly remember, and my mom will never let me live this down, when we were hauling in hydrous tanks, around the clock when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I looked at her and I said, Mom, I will never be a farmer. I will never marry a farmer. I will never have anything to do with farming. Well,
all 3 happened.
Yes, all 3 have happened. And I wouldn't want it any other way now. But back then when you're stuck, hauling in hydrous tanks for 12 hours a day at 3,
It's a little boring. There's only so many cab snacks one child can consume.
Right. And that was, pre-iPad days. So, talk about coming up with things to keep yourself entertained.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. I actually had folks, and not that this should be surprising, Gooseneck Equipment is not necessarily a common name right down here in the Red River Valley where we're at, but people listen to us all across North America. So tell us a little bit about Gooseneck, about your stores.
All right, Gooseneck Implement. We started in Kenmare, North Dakota 50 years ago. This is our 50th anniversary year. We were founded in Kenmare. Shortly thereafter, we picked up Minot and then Mohall, where I am located. And we have since expanded to 13 locations across North Dakota and 1 down into South Dakota.
And with those locations, you are a full-service John Deere dealership, meaning it's not just row crop equipment. It's a little of everything, isn't it?
It is. It is a little of everything that we see here. Yes, we stay busy all year. All year. I mean, we have gators in the shop right now. We have sprayers, lawnmowers, tractors, combines, seeders, you name it, we've got it going on.
So looking back, I think that probably the place I want to start is, what's your journey through John Deere? Because now, did I get it right? You're general manager.
Yes.
All right. How does that start for you? What was your first step into John Deere? Because we've talked to folks before who have worked corporately for John Deere, et cetera. It's not always so easy to get a foot in the door and get started. What door opened for your foot?
I was very lucky. And when I came into Gooseneck, I already had a little bit of general farm knowledge. Remember the girl that was never going to go back to the farm? Yeah, that didn't last long. And I was running equipment and helping on our family farm. And because of that, I had a little bit of help coming in the door as far as my knowledge coming technology-wise. So I met with our precision ag leader at the time, Scott Kraft, and I explained to him that I was looking for a career change. And that, I have a little bit of a background in the technology. My degree is actually in radiologic science. And then having that farming background in technology, he took a chance on me. And since then, I was working doing operations center specialist. I was doing data management. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. And integrated solutions consulting. So I was dealing with all of the precision ag technology, and along with that, the mapping systems that we can take the data and produce maps. So if we need to go to the FSA, we can figure out our exact acreages. That's where it all started. Along with that, I began a partnership with Deere Headquarters, and I was a member of their Integrated Solutions Dealer Advisory Group. So there was a board of 12 of us selected from all of North America, and we would fly down to Iowa to the factory about every 6 months, and we would meet with the brains, the individuals responsible for developing different ideas, coming to software, equipment, anything along those lines. And we got to be kind of the voice of, is that going to work in our industry? Is it not? How are customers going to adapt to these things? And from there, this position opened up as general manager here in Mohall. And I knew I wanted to move up in my career, and this just felt like a right decision for myself, my family, for Gooseneck. And so that's where we are.
And Maria, a couple of questions. One that really stood out was you were doing radiological science. How do you go from that to the position? First off, what did you want to do with that? And how did you transition from that to what you're doing now? That's a big difference.
That's a great question. Yeah, so I actually worked in a hospital for about 5 years doing that, and it just wasn't it for me. It wasn't it. And I came to Gooseneck, and I was like, I grew up with Gooseneck. My family, it was just family to me. And we've always talked about Gooseneck, like being a part of our family, keeping our equipment running, keeping us going on the farm. And so because of that, I was like, if you guys would let me come sweep the floors, I'd be super happy with that. Anything right now. I was looking for a change, and it just all worked out for the best. I've been here 9 years, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Man, what a fit.
From one extreme to the other, that's awesome, though. That's very versatile. I love it.
I like to say it kind of fits. I mean, it really logically it doesn't at all, but I like to say it does because the technology piece fits in with John Deere is now focused on technology. And then also I just have a passion for helping people, coming from working in the medical field.
Right.
I always felt like I wanted to help people, and here I am now helping keep our farmers going. So
that's fantastic.
You had another question you were going to ask before we hit the bottom of the hour?
Yeah, Bridgette was telling me, Maria, that you're one of the few females that are running that's higher up, I guess, in the John Deere industry. So, I mean, that kind of surprised me in today's day and age. So, I guess that's a huge accomplishment for you as well.
Yeah, it is. I was Gooseneck's first female general manager, which is no pressure. No.
Right.
So what an honor to be in this position. And in our organization, we have a lot of women that are in managerial positions, and they're really showing up and kicking butt, for lack of a better term.
Good.
But yeah, I feel like Gooseneck's really leading the way in that.
I think that's probably
and hats off to John Deere for giving her that, like she said, I'll just be willing to sweep floors. I mean, but I've got the background, so let's, give it a shot. So good for them. That's awesome. It's a great company too.
Yeah. Well, and that, you're looking John Deere corporate, but where Maria's at locally at Gooseneck, having those personal connections, like you said, this was so many family ties. That's a great opportunity right there. Love it.
Definitely.
I have a ton of questions for Maria, but I also know that it's 1:29 in the afternoon. And before I launch into all of that, I will give her a little bit of a break. And when we come back, there's a lot of things I want to ask. And one of them is, when you were on that committee, Maria, and you were talking about going down to Iowa and being at the factory and giving some of your thoughts and ideas of what would work in the country. I want to know which one of your ideas came to fruition for farmers. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
This is a shout out to all hardworking farmers and ranchers. If you're looking for the cream of the crop in post-frame construction, look no further than Thor Buildings. Because let's face it, having the right size building for your equipment or livestock is crucial for your success. At Thor Buildings, they'll design your building for max efficiency, customized to tackle the seasonal weather in your neck of the woods. Post-frame construction tailored to your livestock and ag needs. Buildings built better, stronger, and built to last. So when it's time to put the hammer down, build with Thor. Visit thorbuildings.com today. Get $50 off your prom suit package. That's right, $50 off only at Halberstadt's West Acres Mall. For 2024, get a free tie bar and socks with your prom purchase package. Includes, ready for this, a suit coat, vest, pants, shirt, tie, and kerchief. All yours to keep. Our expert staff will help find the perfect pieces to make you look and feel your best. Suit up, stand out, and own your prom with Halberstadt's West Acres Mall.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. Local, state, and federal law enforcement are forming a Cass Clay Threat Assessment Management Task Force. We're told the goal is to stop incidents before they occur, such as the officer-involved shooting in Fargo last July.
If we can try to do something to put some pieces in play to try to prevent something like that from happening again, there isn't the one person up here that doesn't want that. That's why we're doing this. We got to try something, right?
Cass County Sheriff Jesse Johnner says the goal is to establish regular meetings with law enforcement partners to share information on potentially concerning individuals in the community. He says they plan to develop action plans to direct people away from criminal activity. There are currently about 17,000 job openings in North Dakota. That's according to the latest North Dakota jobs report. It shows nearly 2,000 more positions open now compared to January. And North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum continues to tout what he calls the benefits of carbon sequestration.
I was up at the University of North Dakota at the Environmental Energy Research Center. I think the graph they had up there was that this would add the carbon sequestration enhanced oil recovery would add $70 billion of tax revenue to North Dakota over the coming decades. Tax revenue.
Tom Tucker, WDAY, and WDAYRadioNow.com.
Do you love working on cars but don't love your current job? If so, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Matthew Carlson, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. We're a family-owned full-service auto repair shop looking to hire skilled automotive technicians. With our state-of-the-art shops, great work environment with competitive pay and benefits, you'll enjoy a great job with a bigger purpose and a lot of opportunity for advancement. Visit FixItForwardAutoCare.com to apply. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Hi, I'm Bob from Lakeland General Store, and we are stocked up with Flow docks and lifts. Stop by and let me show you why Flow products are renowned for quality and innovation. They feature an easy level system that makes raising and lowering a breeze, plus effortless install and removal. Looking for flexible payment options? We've got you covered with great financing options on dock and lift purchases. If you're in the market for a new dock or lift, come see me at Lakeland General Store, just south of Detroit Lakes on Highway 59.
Are your trees in need of some TLC? Look no further than Tyler's Tree Service. Whether you're planning for next year or need help now, visit tylerscut.com to request a quote. They'll swing by, assess the job, and send you a competitive bid. That's tylerscut.com.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And that screaming goat gives you a giant welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. And I felt like I should find that old Sound of Music song, There's Something About Maria, to introduce our guest today, Maria Ness. She is General Manager for Gooseneck Equipment in Mohall, North Dakota. I'm sure no one has ever sang that song to you, Maria. Maybe today could have been your day.
Right?
So as we were exiting there for a moment, I posed a question to you. You'd mentioned that you had been on a committee for John Deere where you were part of a group of 12. You were giving good new ideas to John Deere Corporate down in Iowa. And I'm curious, what were some of the things that maybe you and your peers proposed that really came to fruition in the field for farmers?
All right. Well, I guess the one that comes to the top of my mind, the one that I'm most passionate about, is we have a platform for growers called the John Deere Operations Center. And what that is our customers can take their data that they collect in the field and produce maps on the Operations Center that shows exactly where this operation took place, how many acres they seeded, what rates they seeded, what varieties, and that goes all through application and harvest as well. The idea that I had seen come to life through me being on this WDAY committee was that our growers, they all need to certify their acres to the FSA in order to get crop insurance. So as it was, there was no way that our growers could calculate out how big of areas their wetlands were accounting to. So you don't want to pay for your slough ground. You know, we don't want to go out and seed a field and have 50 acres of sloughs that we can't seed and then pay crop insurance for them. Mm-hmm. So growers wanted to know exactly how big those internal sloughs were. So when they certified to crop insurance, FSA, they didn't pay. And they knew exactly how many acres and where in the field they were. So by working with Deere, we were able to get these quote unquote boundaries made. So when I went out and seeded, I know the exact amount of seeded acres I had with any overlap removed. And all of those acres were clearly defined if they were unable to be seeded. That was huge for us because, like I said, every grower in the U.S. is impacted by the FSA and crop insurance. So you want to know exactly how many acres that you're seeding. You know, we're not a flat square field place. You know, we're not Iowa. Our fields change shape every single year depending on the amount of moisture we get. And so that is huge to our farmers.
That's impactful. That makes a great difference. And so as someone working in an area with so many specialty crops and a lot of equipment, right? You have everything from planting to haying to combining and in between. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to your job? Is it labor? Is it pricing? Is it customer? Where would you pin that?
I would say labor. We need to keep and retain employees. I mean, we have to get employees and retain them. I think everyone is getting hit hard by that right now. If we want to be able to provide solutions to our customers, you know, we have to have a full fleet, and it's hard sometimes to find those people to help us fill those positions.
I have no doubt, because on the break, Dean and I were talking about this. For those who might be listening and aren't sure, where exactly is Mohall, North Dakota?
Oh, wow. It is, if you know where Minot is, we're about 50 miles north and, was it maybe like 10 miles west of there? So right outside Canada.
Yes.
A stone's throw from the border. There
She is. And so, and you're right. You're in a rural area where labor is difficult. And when you think about some of the programs that you can do through John Deere, are you able to help entice some technicians and other folks to come to work in your dealership as well?
Yes, we are. Gooseneck actually has ASU BB that we offer. And through that program, we are actually able to certify technicians and send them through school without having to leave the dealership. So you would sign on through the program at one of our locations. You can complete the 2-year program, and when you're finished, you're a certified technician, the same as if you were to go through the John Deere Tech program at Wahpeton.
Oh, so that's handy.
You don't have to leave to go to school. You don't have to pay those extra room and board activity type fees. You can live at home. If you have a family already, you're going to get paid to go to work and school at the same time. So it's a really awesome program. We're the only dealership in the country that offers this currently, and it's huge. It's huge for us.
Wow. Oh, that's tremendous. Just as you think about labor, and like you said, people don't want to have to move because from you to Wahpeton is not close. Okay. So that's a big deal. out of those technicians that you are training, do you see a lot more women entering, whether it's in mechanics or the precision ag, doing the technology and so forth?
We have actually. We've seen a lot more female technicians. And I actually had a customer joke with me the other day, and they said, do they only let females take care of the precision ag stuff? And I'm like, no. We have a team that we have males on our team too. But yeah, we're seeing more and more females all the time, and it's awesome to see them in every aspect of the business.
Well, Dean and I were talking about that, and I said, if you're female on the job, it's awesome. If you're little and you have to fit in little places on a piece of equipment, it's not awesome. That
might be a little tougher.
Yeah, it's not awesome when you're little and you have to lift giant pieces of equipment. So that can be a challenge.
We got machines for that. We're fine.
Okay. You mentioned going down to headquarters in Iowa. Can you talk about the factories? I know I have had farmers say, that's my goal, right? That's on my bucket list. I want to go to a factory. And also many folks talk about whether or not it's true that if you order a brand new piece of equipment, can you go down and drive it off the assembly line?
Oh, well, I can fill you in on that you can get a gold key tour when you buy something brand new, which means you can go down to the factory where your piece of equipment came from. So if you bought a new tractor, brand new, you could go to the tractor factory and do a gold key tour is what they call it. You can't drive it off the assembly line, sadly. We do still haul it up here. We truck it up.
Dean was already shopping online, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, what can I tell you, Dean? What should I get you quoted right now?
Yeah, right. There's a good sales person.
I love that. Yes. Oh, but yes, please continue with the factory.
Yes. So I haven't actually been to any of our factories besides the Precision Ag factory. I shouldn't even say factory. It's more of the vision center where all of the software geniuses and developers are all housed to come up with all these ideas. What an awesome place. The minds in that place. The brain power is insane there. And you get to see all of these products. You get a sneak peek beforehand if you're on a group like this. Of course, you sign an NDA, so I can't talk about them. Oh. But they say technology is coming 5 times faster, and I've seen it firsthand. It's going to be crazy.
So when your farmers come in the door, right in there at Gooseneck Implement in Mohall, are there questions more around the things that people see at the Consumer Electronics Show with See and Spray, Furrow Vision, ExactApply, et cetera, all those great big technologies? Or are they asking more about the used equipment market where it's something that's, say, pre-def, smaller horsepower, something they can work on a little more closely at home, something like that? Can you kind of clarify what people are looking for today when they're out shopping for equipment?
It honestly depends on the farmer. So some farmers are very tech savvy. They want to, it's not necessarily about the hard iron alone anymore. It's the technology piece that goes along with it. And that's not even a generational thing. I mean, we have some young people that are terrified of it. And we have some older people that are they're all in. They want to have every piece of technology on their farm. And then the other extreme is we have the people that are more about the used market. They want pre-def. They don't want to mess with that. And it's funny because it's just where does that customer specifically see value? And we have to be very in tune with that as an organization of where each individual customer really does see that value. Because just because they're young doesn't mean that they're super into technology, and just because they might be from an older generation doesn't mean that they're scared of it.
Well, there was a recent study just in the last week or so that North Dakota is the fastest adapting state for precision ag. We are at 57% of our farms use a precision technology of some sort versus the national average of 27%. Does that surprise you, Maria? Yeah, that's a big number.
Is that the national average is that low?
Yeah. So here's my unsolicited opinion on that. we have so many specialty crops in this world up here in North Dakota. Whereas you go to an I-state, all they farm is corn and soybeans and corn. Here, when it comes to precision, how many different crops do you think you have to worry about at a planting time, Maria, when you got to set planters?
Yeah, you're right.
You probably have 12 to 15 up there, right? Would that be wrong?
No, that wouldn't be wrong.
So, yeah. Now, I am going to ask you to define, for those listening who might not be clear, when we say precision technology, precision planting, et cetera, what does that really mean?
Oh my gosh, that is such a big umbrella term. That can cover anything from, are we using auto track to steer us back and forth straight in the field? Are we using JD Link technology? So everything that we have in our displays can send wirelessly to our operations center. So our servicemen can get, our service managers can get our codes off of our equipment. Is it mean that we're using auto track turn automation? So a grower can literally get in the tractor, set a line, and the tractor will turn around for them at the end of the field without having to press any buttons. It's such a big umbrella, like I said.
It's huge. And so many things go into it. So Maria, I just want to say thank you for joining us, but I want to allow you the time to give a little plug for where you are and your piece of the world with Gooseneck Implement. Where can people find you?
Yes. I am Maria Ness, and you can find more about Gooseneck Implement Mohall if you go to gooseneckimp.com. And if you visit gooseneckimp.com/careers, we would love to have you. Specifically in Mohall, I got to put a plug in for this. I need a salesman and an aftermarket account manager.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm really glad you put the plug in for that.
We're always happy for techs.
Okay, and so you said the website. Is there a phone number for folks to call you?
Yes, but I don't have that memorized.
Oh,
where we have to just Google it, or it's saved in my phone.
That is just fine. But Gooseneck Implement will stand out in everybody's mind. So thank you again, Maria Ness. We appreciate visiting with you today. Folks, do not go anywhere. Dean has to recap the weather because
beautiful weather.
Yeah, keep telling
me more. At least we didn't get the snow like
they did,
like Maria did up north. So we'll take that.
All right, let's do that when we come back.
Hi, I'm Kevin Pfeiffer, America's Land Auctioneer, inviting you to listen to America's Land Auctioneer radio show every Saturday morning from 7 to 8. Each week we'll cover topics like buying and selling farmland, mineral rights, farmland valuations, and more. If it has to do with land, it's being talked about on America's Land Auctioneer with me, Kevin Pfeiffer, Saturday mornings at 7 here on AM 970 and FM 93.1 WDAY.
This is a shout out to all hardworking farmers and ranchers. If you're looking for the cream of the crop in post-frame construction, look no further than Thor Buildings. Because let's face it, having the right size building for your equipment or livestock is crucial for your success. At Thor Buildings, they'll design your building for max efficiency, customized to tackle the seasonal weather in your neck of the woods. Post-frame construction tailored to your livestock and ag needs. Buildings built better, stronger, and built to last. So when it's time to put the hammer down, build with Thor. Visit ThorBuildings.com today.
You're going to hear me talk about this new pizza in Fargo. It's called Red's Savoy Pizza. I'm going to talk about it a lot. I've had this pizza before it came to town and am super excited to have it in Fargo now. This is some of the best pizza I have ever tasted. They do not skimp on the toppings. And wait till you taste the sauce. Wow, is it good. One of my favorites, the house special. Savoy's original sausage, pepperoni, mushrooms, green peppers, onions, green olives. If you have not tried their pizza, you better. Open for takeout and delivery every day, 11 to 9. Red Savoy Pizza, 32nd Avenue South in Fargo. Visit savoypizza.com.
If you haven't tasted North Dakota Sweet Crude or Sweet Crude Orange, you are missing out. North Dakota Sweet Crude has a smooth cinnamon and spice flavor, and Sweet Crude Orange has the same smooth finish with a splash of orange. Both taste great on the rocks, one sip at a time, and they'll mix well in a variety of drinks, such as Sweet Crude Leprechaun or an Orange Crush. Just two of the more than 60 drink recipes you'll find online at crudespirits.com. Ask for it at your local liquor store, and in Minnesota and South Dakota, you can also buy it online at crudespirits.com.
Attention service technicians, Northern Plains Equipment, a certified Case IH dealer in Garrison and Mandan, North Dakota, is looking for top-notch individuals to join their team and perform quality maintenance and repairs on all types of agricultural equipment. Northern Plains Equipment is a value-led, 100% employee-owned company, offering competitive wages, benefits, and job training. If you're ready to work in a great environment with great people, apply at plainsag.com. Northern Plains Equipment, Inc., proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Are your trees in need of some TLC? Look no further than Tyler's Tree Service. Whether you're planning for next year or need help now, visit tylerscut.com to request a quote. They'll swing by, assess the job, and send you a competitive bid. That's tylerscut.com.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Montana. Spreading the word about pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:51 in the afternoon. Want to thank you for joining us on this Friday Eve, Thursday afternoon, like we call it. And temperatures outside hanging in the mid to upper 20s throughout the central southern valley, but clouds are hanging tight in the northern valley, and temperatures only 20 right now in Grand Forks, and you go just northwest of Grand Forks, areas up around Adams and Brockett, only in the lower teens. So, and even colder than that, single-digit temperatures out in the northwestern part of the state around Tioga. So, wow, yeah, a wide variety of temperatures across the state. Good, almost 25-degree difference from northwest to southeast, and we'll continue to see sunshine, at least in the central southern valley, and temperatures should warm up into the low 30s. And again, we're going to see gradual day-to-day warming as we head into the weekend. A lot of sunshine, which is good. I mean, a little vitamin D, that's all good this time of the year, and we're going to see a lot of it over the next 3 to 5 days, all the way into early next week. And by Sunday, we'll be in the low 50s, and by early next week, we'll be in the mid to upper 50s.
Wow. Clean out your drawers. Get out the summer-looking clothes.
But winter's not done. Trust me on this.
So what you're saying, it's sundress season with a long coat.
There you that's
It might get chilly out there.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's we've got winter's not done. We're not done with the snow. I do see late next week into that next weekend much cooler weather as a string of clippers come down from Western Canada, and that's going to keep our pattern a little more active. Now, we're not going to get hit by every one of them, but it's a more active pattern than what we've seen during the month of February. February is really dry. We don't want to carry that into March and April, that's for sure.
Do you know what's happening in less than 2 weeks?
In less than 2 weeks, your daughter's getting married.
Well, let's go beyond that.
Let's go beyond that.
The LRC special.
It is. That is. Yes, that is the 20th. So put that on your calendar. That's 2 weeks from yesterday. So we're looking at, that'll be on the Jay Thomas Show right after Weather and Ag and Focus. And we'll be focusing on what our spring and summer look like. And there's been a couple of concerns, especially over the last 30 days. We've seen drought conditions kind of expanding from North and South Dakota through a lot of Minnesota. And that's not what we want to see as we head over the next 90 days. And so we're going to run that LRC model to see if this trend will continue. Now, you know, we were thinking that areas from northeast Nebraska through portions of southern Minnesota into Wisconsin, we're kind of in that sweet spot for moisture, and for the most part, they have been over the course of the winter, not in terms of snow, but just in terms of precip, and we'd be below normal in terms of precip, except for that Christmas storm, and we can't rely on that one storm to cycle back through with the same strength as it happened in in December. It's not feasible.
So in a way, I hope not, but yet also I wouldn't be upset at 2 or 3 days with a 3-inch rain at the end.
Right. But the thing is, a lot of the storms that have been passing to our south as that jet stream lifts north during the springtime into early summer, those have a tendency to pull a little north. So that's our fingers crossed. Let's hope this pans out like it usually does. But again, March 20th, we'll be going over a spring and summer outlook for North, South Dakota, and Minnesota, and for anywhere else in the country as well. I know Gary's got some things that he may be ready to unveil for our ag community. I know he's working on a bunch of different products that he's testing right now, which would be a great thing for our ag community.
We literally always have so many wait, there's more type things coming on,
that's good,
on WDAY. It's great.
That's a good thing.
There's
That's a good
things.
thing. Well, hey, let's hit some ag topics. We got about 3 or 4 minutes, 3 minutes here.
Well, we do. And so it is baby animal season, as I mentioned earlier, calves, lambs, even foals coming in as far as colts are concerned. So reminders from veterinarians around the country right now is to be sure to have everything lined up and ready to go for calving. If you have a difficult calving birth with one of your heifers, perhaps OB sleeves, gloves, stop and get those. Have your ear tags somewhere handy. This is kind of one of those cardinal rules that farmers and ranchers have, so that when you come out in the morning and there's 5 new calves, who belongs to who? It's like the nursery at the hospital. You got to tag mom and baby so we all know who goes where. And then also keep colostrum on hand. And this is probably more for the non-farming folks to understand. Colostrum is vital to those new calves. You want to administer within the first couple of hours, because if you don't and your calves start to look a little sickly, maybe they didn't have good absorption and uptake, that's detrimental to their overall development. You don't want new calves to dehydrate, because they dehydrate very quickly, and you want to make sure that they have that vitamin-rich colostrum and that they get to mom and mom doesn't kick them away.
And boy, I mean, so far, calving season weather, it's been
good.
It's been good.
You know, if it was muddy, like last year was I'm going to leave the adjectives out, but it was a disaster. And you got to keep dry ground, you know, whether you're spreading some straw. We know that it's going to warm up. Things will get soft out there again. Keep the snow out of the way. Maybe you're putting up some wind protectors so that those new calves don't get chilled. And oftentimes you're putting the heifers or the cows that are most likely to calve soon, they're going in a barn or somewhere, so you can keep a close eye on them. Now, interesting to note, as we mentioned, it's not just calves, but it might also be for horses if a mare is about to have a foal. Fun fact, Dean, this is actually a little quiz for you.
Okay.
What's the pregnancy term length for a horse, for a mare?
Oh, man, I have no clue. So I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess 7 months.
323 to 347 days.
Way off.
Almost a year.
Way off.
Now, here's the kicker. When the water breaks for that mare, that foal can be there in 20 to 30 minutes. So she's carried him for so long, she's like, that's enough. Out. We're done. So there are actually alert systems that you can use when the water breaks on a mare. So there's some pretty high dollar horses out there, right? Whether they're rodeo horses, cutting horses, just your everyday horses that you're using to work cattle. You want to know what's going on with them. Cameras in the barn are one thing, as long as there's not a blind spot. Some people are shy. She might turn away from you. But additionally, a full alert system is a tag that can be sutured onto the horse, and it has a magnet and a sensor that pulls apart when the water breaks, and it sends an alert to your phone to know that there's that there is a foal on the way. Imagine that.
I wonder if they could use that for humans. Like, let's say the father is at work and mother's water breaks and she can't get to the phone, and then bingo.
Yeah. Boom, here we go.
Rush home.
Yep. So there's just some things to keep in mind. And
there you go.
I bet we'll talk more about them, because one of our favorite guests will be back next week. That's Dr. Emily Fox with the Ashley Vet Clinic. Looking forward to having her with us.
I want to thank everybody for joining us here today on Weather and Ag in Focus. Again, for Bridgette and myself, make sure you tune in tomorrow from 1 to 2. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.